I'm Bruce Golden, and I'll be reading from my book, Monster Town. Starting with Chapter 1, my book is currently in development for a TV series. It was a hard, wet rain that beat an ominously staccato rhythm on the roof of my Packard as I drove to the outskirts of the city. Thunder rumbled overhead like a bowling ball sliding down a corrugated tin roof, and I imagined the ferocious whip cracks of lightning tearing great rents in time and space. The rain didn't bother me. Neither did the thunder. I was sober, more or less. What nagged me was the unknown. Not the unknown I knew about, I could deal with that. It was the obscure unknown, the one that always popped its ugly mug out of a dark shadow with a cackling laugh. That's what worried me. Call it a personality quirk, but I could never be completely relaxed if there was a mystery to be solved, even if I knew the answer would presently reveal itself. What puzzled me this particular evening was what the wealthiest man in town wanted with me. Usually I just took pictures of cheating spouses or an occasional insurance scammer pretending to be laid up but actually water skiing off Catalina. However, 3 hours ago I'd gotten a call from some secretary saying her boss, one Vladimir Prince, would like to speak with me about contracting my services. What the job was she wouldn't say, asking only that I arrive precisely at 7. I almost said no thanks, as I planned on being deep inside a bottle by 7. Normally, I never let my work interfere with my drinking, but the rent was due. You may or may not know that Vladimir Prince was the owner of several wineries and a couple of breweries, along with enough other businesses and real estate holdings to choke a platoon of accountants. Unless you keep up with the trades, you probably don't know that Prince feathered his initial nest egg working in the movie business. He was known back then as Dracula, or Count Dracula, or the Dark Prince, depending upon the script. Unlike most horror movie stars, he'd invested wisely, which is why he lived out here on the very edge of Monster Town, away from the urban blight and general riffraff that infested its main streets. Of course, Monster Town isn't the way most people picture it. Yes, it had its roots in a time when movie monsters were ostracized by their Hollywood brethren. But instead of fighting to fit in, they let themselves be ghettoized just south of Beverly Hills, into a post-war industrialized area whose industries had gone belly up. And it wasn't just famous freaks of the silver screen who lived there. It was also home to hundreds, hell, thousands of wannabes. It wasn't unlike Hollywood in that sense, where every waitress is a star in waiting and every valet has a screenplay he wants you to read. Yes, Monster Town for the most part is populated with the hopeful, the starstruck, the dregs of the earth, who weren't quite monstrous enough. Its avenues are peppered with the gimps and the geeks and the oddballs and the mutants who never got their shot at fame and fortune. Some of the better-known monsters reside there too, though few of them were as smart or as successful as Prince. What they have are their memories, their dogged posters, their faded fame, but little fortune. Casting directors still, on occasion, trolled the streets for a small part here or there, but Tinseltown just wasn't making monster flicks like they used to. So when the celluloid gravy train dried up, monsters had to make a living like anyone. Now they were fry cooks and teachers and dog catchers and shopkeepers. Some were hoodlums, others thieves, and a few were even killers. In other words, Monster Town was really like any other city. Before I could get to the suburb I was headed for, I had to pass through the ghost town that had been the old factory district. Most of the companies there had gone out of business years ago, but I saw a few still showing signs of life. Whether they are actually making things or just tearing them down, I had no idea. I passed the old pump station and was surprised to see it still pumping away, despite its rusted exterior, diverting water from the LA County Waterworks main line to Monster Town. I guess something had to keep the toilets flushing. Even though I lived in Monster Town, I wasn't in show business, never had been. I ended up there by happenstance. Not really an interesting story. Now I was just looking for a job to pay my bills and keep me in hooch, though I never imagined a job would take me this far from the grime and crime of the city's venal core. Even when I was flush with cash, I didn't get out of town much. I certainly was never invited to any parties in this ritzy neighborhood I was driving through at the moment. I belonged there like broccoli belongs on a chocolate sundae. But the trees and green grass were a nice change from the littered asphalt and peeling paint I could see from my own digs. The fresh air wouldn't hurt me either, though I figured I shouldn't make a habit of it.